Welcome back to my lecture series. This is Muthuminal R, Assistant Professor from the Department of Agricultural Engineering at SNS College of Technology. Today we'll see about the topic Components of Disaster Relief that comes under the unit Disaster Risk Management in India for the students of final year 7th semester at the subject Disaster Management. Before going into the session, let us have a small recap on what we have seen at the previous lecture series. We have seen what is a disaster, what are the types of disaster, and also we have covered how could the hazard and vulnerability profile in India affect the disasters. So today we'll see how we can provide certain disaster reliefs for the essential elements and institutional arrangements in order to provide effective relief operations. So when disasters strike, effective relief operations depend on delivery of essential services and robust institutional frameworks. Understanding these components is crucial for saving lives and resilient communities. So in order to do so, what we have to do in the sense, we have to get tied up with the NGOs that are available in and around us, so that if there is going to be any sudden disaster, we have to make sure that all the relief essential elements could reach the affected people. So the core relief components are water, food. So the safe water access could be given through the safe drinking water through the basic drinking systems that are available in and around. For that purpose, WHO estimates 785 million people lack basic drinking water systems globally, and making water security a top priority in disaster zones. So the emergency water standards are 15 to 20 liters persons per day. So we have to make sure that such an amount of water is available per person per day in order for them to be very crucial, and we are making them to lead a peaceful life while avoiding the hazard that is going to happen due to the lack of water. So the next that is going to be food security. Emergency rations must meet nutritional needs for affected populations, preventing malnutrition and starvation during critically recovered periods. So that the distribution system has to be made possible in order every person has the enough water and food supply, and we have to coordinate the food distribution system through equitable access while maintaining dignity and cultural opportunities. So next what we have to look into it is sanitation, shelter and health. So after we have satisfied their basic needs, what we have to link into them is we have to meet their health benefits. So in order to do so, what we have to do here in the sense, we have to look into the sanitation facilities that are available in and around. Proper sanitation reduces disease outbreaks significantly, and the lack of adequate toilets can increase diarrheal diseases by 30% in emergency camps, making this a critical health intervention. So in order to avoid these kinds of things, we have to provide certain systems that will not cause a very emergency purposes. So the next one is emergency shelters provide protection from elements and restore safety. They must be quick, culturally appropriate, and maintain the human dignity during displacement. And the next thing that we have to take up in mind is health services. The comprehensive healthcare addresses injuries, disease prevention, and mental health needs. So mobile clinics and vaccination campaigns are vital for population health. So what we have to do after satisfying the basic needs is we have to maintain the waste that are generated. So we have to maintain the waste management in order to prevent the secondary hazard that could happen at the near future. So the coordinated waste management reduces health risk and prevents the long-term environmental damage, protecting both the immediate survivors and future community recovery efforts. For this purpose, we have to take critical prevention measures where the proper waste disposal prevents the contamination of water sources and controls disease like mosquitoes and rodents that threaten public health. 5 to 10 tons of debris generated daily in major disaster zones, and 70% of disease reduction has to be achieved through proper waste management. So the institutional arrangements that could be taken care of under this response activity is mitigation, preparedness, recovery, and response. Under these four cases, what we have to do in the sense, we have to train the people around there by stockpiling the essential supplies and community drills, enhance the readiness and accelerate response speed when disaster occurs. What we have to do otherwise, after the disaster has happened, we have to enforce the building codes, environmental planning, and comprehensive risk assessment. And also, we have to provide a long-term rebuilding efforts to restore the communities while incorporating lessons learned to improve future disaster resilience. This coordinated multi-agency efforts will help us to deliver rescue operations, relief distribution, emergency, and also immediately after disaster onset. So this will help us to integrate the disaster relief and make the lives to be saved. So effective disaster relief depends on combining essential services with strong institutional frameworks. Each food, sanitation, shelter, health, and waste management will help us to work together to preserve human dignity, and also will maintain them through the path forward by investing in preparedness and mitigation, which will help us to reduce the suffering and accelerate recovery, creating more resilient futures. So this is what I have prepared for today's class. If you guys have any kind of doubt or anything, you guys can ping me anytime. See you at the next class. Thank you.